Hey everybody, Dan here with Pain Free You. Today I wanted to talk about this awareness and decision to get you out of your default panic or fear. So, hope everybody's well. Breathe in the clarity and the calm. Exhale the doubt and the chaos. So, a lot of people struggle with responding to their situation in a way that conveys that I'm okay. And the default response for many people is panic, fear, doubt, worry, catastrophic thinking, doom and gloom, suffering, mentally ruminating on this stuff all day long. And that keeps the emotional charge of sadness, despair, grief, hopelessness going. And the default is there. And it's pretty wicked because, for some people, for many people, I would say most of us at some point in this journey, when we're feeling the symptoms, the default reaction is, right? So how do we get out of the default? One, awareness. Becoming aware of our response is key. And that's not just for symptoms, mind-body symptoms. It's for anything in life. You got a boss who's a jerk, become aware of your response, right? Because sometimes our response is not ideal or conducive to the environment or the situation. It could be, how do you respond to family members or to, neighbors or friends when they're talking about you and your symptoms? Oh, how are you doing? We can choose and make a decision to respond in a more effective, productive, useful way. So if your default response to your symptoms is panic, freak out, first step to overcoming that and starting to shift gently towards a better response is knowing that you're actually doing that. Because if you don't even realize you're in a panic, it's going to be hard to shift. And I will tell you with certainty, if you stay in panic, if you stay in freak out, you are confirming the brain's perception that there's a big problem, danger. And since perceived danger is what turns on and keeps symptoms persistent, staying in panic and freaking out will keep the symptoms going. And frankly, the more we panic, the more we freak out, the more intense our fear, oftentimes the more intense the symptom feels. And you know that I'm right about that. Think back to times when you're feeling good. Your fear is a little bit lower. You respond to symptoms a little bit better. And think back to some of the worst symptoms you've had. You're in a complete panic. Well, it's not a coincidence, right? They go pair in pair, hand in hand. The more intense your fear and panic, the more intense the symptoms are going to be. So it's super important to respond as calmly as possible. And that calm can only come from clarity as to understanding how this system, called the human body, brain, pain, nervous system, works. Understanding that it applies to you. Take the assessment. Go to painfreeyou.com. Take the assessment. And rule it in. Know there's a solution and know you're capable of it. But this video today is really about helping you become more aware of your participation in the improvement of your symptoms or the perpetuation of them, right? Or in some cases, unfortunately, the worsening of your symptoms. While we don't have direct control over symptoms, we do have the ability to influence them in a massive way, a big way. And so that's really what I'm hoping to convey here is that your awareness, I'm in a panic, not helpful. Drop the shoulders, relax, slow the breath, slow the thinking. I'm making a decision to respond differently. The panic is the reaction. That's like, boom, instant. And sometimes, when we get a real big ouch, that reaction is automatic. Right? We can't prevent the ouch moment. But what we do next is within our ability to choose and influence the brain with a positive, more hopeful, calm response with clarity, reminding ourselves what's going on. So awareness and decision are your tools to start to notice your participation in the symptoms and choose and make a decision to do something differently, which will be helpful as opposed to worsening things or at minimum keeping them going. So notice, start to pay attention, awareness. Some people use the term mindfulness. Become mindful of how you're navigating your days. And ask yourself, am I creating more safety and trust that this is all going to pass? Or am I panicking and creating more danger, which the brain will respond to by keeping the symptoms going? And the more danger, the higher the symptoms get. So awareness and decision, those are your two tools for shifting from your default mode to a productive choice on how you move forward and navigate these extremely difficult symptoms. I am not minimizing this. I'm not saying any of this stuff is easy. But I will tell you what, staying in panic is not easy either. And at least with this awareness and decision to respond as well as possible with clarity and certainty that this is temporary, this becomes easier to navigate and deal with. And eventually get better completely. So I'm going to wrap this up here, folks. Love you. And as always, we'll see you tomorrow. Check out the links below in the description if you'd like more resources. And we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.